It's Carrie from Classic Cottage Art and Antiques in Bowling Green, Virginia, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Creating a Classic Cottage. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe below. And today I'm going to tell you about the new Dixie Belle Bells and Whistles decoupage papers. I'm going to upcycle an old cabinet door to make it a really cool, useful, functional product, and we're going to do it with these decoupage papers. So come on, let's get started. So first of all, let me show you some of the designs that I have in stock at the store. So this is sketched blue flower. This is the one we're going to use today, and it's beautiful. It's probably my favorite. There are 3 sheets in each envelope here. You've got plenty to do a big project. Like I said, we're going to use the blue flower, the sketched blue flowers. I just think they're so pretty. So I'm going to set it aside because let me tell you what I started with. I went to my local Habitat resale store and bought this old cabinet door. You can get them in different sizes. They're really inexpensive. This one's what, almost 12 inches by, I don't know, about 18, 20 inches, something like that. And this one particularly just happened to come with the hardware and the knob, which is cool because I can always use this knob on something else. But it started out, and I haven't even cleaned this one. It's really nasty. Like I said, you can get them in different sizes. It's a really good place to get project pieces at your Habitat resale store. So let me show you where I'm at now. What I did was I removed the knob and I filled it in with the Dixie mud. I'm not going to take the time to show you that now. I may have another video on that eventually. But I went ahead and painted it. Now, I'm not too terribly concerned about this portion here being totally covered. I did end up using white boss on this because this is an oak door. It had been painted before, but after I cleaned it really well with the white lightning cleaner and then rinsed it, I did do 1 coat of the white boss just in case it's going to bleed through. And I may have to go back around and do some more touch up here, or I might just, I don't know, maybe I'll just stress it. But I'm going to concentrate on this area here with our decoupage paper. So to use the decoupage paper, I'm also going to use the Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat. This is a really good medium for the decoupage. It works really, really well. If you happen to have Mod Podge, that's fine too, but I think I like this better. It doesn't get as gooey. And I'm going to put it on. I'm actually going to use this little, it's an artist brush, but it's got a really smooth bristles, almost like a synthetic brush, like our synthetic brushes. I'm not going to get it too wet because I don't want the paper to, you know, bubble up. And I'm just going to put it on here liberally. I'm going to work quickly because it's warm in my workshop today and I don't want it to, you know, dry out before I get to what I'm doing here. But I do want to make sure it's a smooth, even coat here. And if you've decoupaged before, you know what this is. You just want to make it smooth and even. And luckily this small cabinet door lends itself to decoupage. I'm going to make it smooth. I'm going to kind of go here too. I'll make sure there's no lumps in here. All right. Now the next step is, I do see a lump right here though. Let me get that out. I'm going to open my decoupage paper. It may not be obvious, but there is a way to open this. You just pull up the flap here. I don't know if you can see that. Pull up the flap and it just pulls like this. So it's reclosable, so you can save the other sheets of paper that you're going to use. And these are nice papers. They are good, thick 30 papers. Look at that, isn't that pretty? It's upside down for you, right? Isn't that pretty? So I'm gonna try and center my design, and I may have to do, I'm gonna try and center it. It's kind of upside down for me to see how centered it is, but you know what? I'm gonna have to flip it around so I can see it. There we go. I want to make sure it is going to fit where I want it to. And I'm going to do it right here. Look at that. It fits just like I want it to. Right. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to start in the center and work my way out. I want to make sure there's no bubbles in here if I can help it. This paper is good and strong. It's not even at all like tissue paper or napkins. This paper doesn't wrinkle too bad. There is a trick though you can use, and you can use plastic wrap to kind of help you do this, to get your hands maybe. This is a piece of plastic off of a board or something I got, but it works just for what I want. This is a little trick you can use, especially when you're using napkins or something like that. Okay, so it's on there, nice and good, nice and tight, all the way to the edge. Look at that. So now I'm going to made it a lot less bubbly. If for some reason you get a bubble, you can always take a pen or something and pop where the bubble is. Some people actually crumple the paper ahead of time and use those crumples to their advantage, because then they will put glaze or something on it. And there's still quite a bit of the satin clear coat. I want to make sure I get it on the edges here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave it to dry. Actually, I'm going to hit it with the hairdryer. Okay. It's still a little bit damp, so I'm going to let that dry. So what I'm going to do while it's drying is I'm going to take the color cotton and I'm going to do another coat. Just real quick, I've had this painted for a while and I've actually run it over some places. So while that's drying, let's just give it another coat of cotton before we go on to our next step for our upcycling of this cabinet. I wouldn't recommend drying this too much with the hairdryer because it will in fact bubble on you. A fan may be better. I just want to dry the paint so that I didn't stick my hands in it. All right, now the cool thing about this is, really and truly, once it's dry, you can take a sanding block. Let's see if it'll work when it's still slightly damp. I like to get nice, even edges here. You don't need to cut it. You can take, and this is gonna be a little tricky, but you can take a sanding block It might still be too wet. Let's see. There we go. Now normally I would take it and do it like this, but it's still kind of wet, so I don't want to totally mess it up. You see how it's kind of making a crease right here? It's going to give me a straight cut line, hopefully. You can also take sandpaper and do this. Now the problem I'm having is it's still wet. Like I said, this paper is tough. You see how that made a nice edge there? Normally I would wait for this to dry all the way. See how easy that was? Let's turn it this way. A little stinky on me. And look, I will save these pieces because they're small, but I can also go back and use them on other projects. This is just a dry brush. I'm going to get it out of there. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm not too terribly concerned about that because you know what I'm going to do? I'm happy there's not too many bubbles in there, really. This is still damp, but this needs another coat of the cotton anyway. Now, I did let the paint dry, in my case, several days because I was working on other projects, but I would let it dry overnight probably before I put the decoupage on there, just in case it reactivated the paint. Just, you know, make sure it's good and dry. Of course, you want to go on the sides as well. Look at this part. And because I put that layer of boss down here, it's not bleeding. For the most part, now all I have to do is wait for this to dry so that I can put another coat of the satin clear coat all over everything. If I happen to see any little bubbles in here, which I don't see any that are really bothering me, I could take a safety pin or a straight pin or something and pop those bubbles and then put another coat of the clear coat and it should be just fine. I mean, you know, I might actually even take some of the gilding waxes and maybe go around this edge once it's dried. Don't know yet. But so far, look how quick and easy that is to turn into a beautiful little project. So I'm gonna let this dry and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've kind of fast-tracked. I hit it with the hair dryer and it's 99.9% dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the next step. I have one of these sponges from the Dollar Tree that I've cut in half. And I've got this one damp and I wanted to wash all this green stuff off because it will get in my finish. And I've put some of my satin clear coat in a tray here. And I'm going to take and get a little bit on here, not a ton, because I don't need a lot really. And this is a damp sponge, and I'm just going to start here, and I'm just going to go across once. I'm not going to go back and forth a lot. I am going to hit the sides here. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do all the sides while I'm doing this real quick. Okay. I'm going to get some more on my sponge here. All right. I'm going to go across and try not to go back and forth. This is the best way I found to apply the clear coats. You just don't want to do a whole lot of back and forth because it'll streak on you. I'm even going to do this, I'm going to try this on here. I haven't tried it before on the decoupage papers, but let's see. I'm going to go there because I want to do another coat on here to kind of help seal it down still. Put the paper there. Now, for the insets, I actually am going to use a brush because it's going to leave drips and things if I don't use the brush in here. I'm going to still be careful. I don't want that in there. So for in here, I am going to use the brush. I'm going to make sure I get this little edge down because I didn't sand that off. All right. And I think I will kind of hit these edges right here just because it's the decoupage paper. And I want to make sure that it's down really, really well. Now I will probably go back and do a second coat of that once this is dry. I can hit this with the dryer as well. I'm even going to go over this one more time, especially hitting those edges. I want to make sure they're down really, really well. This is pretty much dry now. It's a little tacky still, but I'm going to go ahead and take the new Gilding wax. Now this is silver, but I'm also decided to use zinc, and this is how I got mine as a retailer. This is a sample I got. But here's what you do. I'm going to use my finger to do this, and you can do this with the ones in this too. But I'm just going to hit along the edges here, just to give it a little something. And you'll see why this color works really well in just a minute. I'm also going to take my You know, I could do it with a brush or a sponge too, but I don't know, I like using my finger. There we go. How about that? And the reason this is going kind of squirrely is because it's in the cross grain, the way it's made. I'm just using my finger to apply this, just to give a little extra something. Now, I probably should wait overnight before I do this, but I kind of wanted to show you guys how to do this real quick. Now, if I don't like the way this looks, if I get a little carried away in spots, I may take some mineral spirits and wipe it back. This is an oil-based product, so I can't just paint over it with paint. This is definitely going to be an oil-based thing. And I might take some mineral spirits and wash it off the places I don't want, like on the paint here. And I don't like the way it's doing that. Let's see if I can wipe it with a dry towel before I get a little carried away here. And that's hit mineral spirits, but that's okay. And this is in the cross grain too. But I have that satin clear coat on here, so it's a lot more forgiving. And I'm going to kind of just buff it a little bit here. And you can get mineral spirits from, I think I got this at Walmart. It's odorless mineral spirits. I'm just going to take the tiniest little bit. Yeah, there we go. See, that's cleaning it right up from where I don't want it. So that's the cool thing. If you have the right stuff, you can always fix a boo-boo. But I also like to show you how to fix stuff that doesn't come out just like you wanted it to. Again, this is an oil-based product. There we go. Just keep turning your rag or it's going to keep getting back on your project. So remember too, this is an oil-based. Mineral spirits are flammable, so just use caution when you're throwing away your rags and stuff. You see, I'm not convinced I like it at all. What I might do is go back with a brush and I'll have more control over that. And that way I'll do it cleaner. But for now, you can see how if you mess up, you have an option to fix it. But mineral spirits is what I use to clean that off with. Now I'm gonna put hooks on there. These hooks I got at Walmart. They're like $7 for 6 of them. And I'm gonna use this for a mug rack. So, and normally I'd wait overnight, but I want to show you guys how this works. Okay, I'm going to use a Phillips head screwdriver. It comes with the screws, which is nice. Now, pre-drilling probably be the way to go. But let's see what happens if we don't pre-drill. I'm just gonna see what happens without drilling. Maybe not. Okay, so drilling is the way to go. If that happens to you, just take a plier and carefully pull it out. Okay, so drilling is the way to go. There we go. So there you have it. And what I would probably do is take a very small brush now. Take a very small brush and maybe do a little more control. I don't do a lot with gilding waxes, but they have a beautiful finish when done right. Okay, there you have it. Just a quick little way to create a really cool mug rack. And of course, I would put a hanger on the back. Oops. But there you go. Just a little something different to do with an old cabinet door. Decoupage papers. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you'll give it a try with the new decoupage papers from Dixie Belle Paint Company and their Bells and Whistles line. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that as well. So, thanks for watching. Until the next video. Bye.